my goodness, did you see that?
She actually did it. How scandalous.
I can't believe this is happening right now.
The insult landed in the center of the gala like a dropped plate, sudden and loud in its silence. It was said with confidence, with the ease of someone who had never been challenged in public. The billionaire's daughter stood tall in her designer gown, chin lifted, voice steady with entitlement. She looked at the black woman as if she were an error in the room. A smudge on polished marble, the black woman did not flinch. She stood near the edge of the ballroom. Framed by gold walls and soft lights, her posture calm, her hands steady. Her dress was simple, clean, chosen for comfort rather than attention. Her hair was neat, pulled back with care, revealing a face shaped by patience and restraint. She did not raise her voice. She did not defend herself. She only breathed around them. The gala froze. Crystal glasses hovered midair. Conversations thinned into whispers. People glanced at one another, unsure whether to intervene or retreat into safety. No one spoke up. Silence became a second insult. The woman's name was Naomi Carter. She had come to the gala because she had been invited, though no one here recognized her name. The invitation had arrived on thick paper, gold letters pressed deep, listing her as a guest of honor. She had almost declined. Crowded rooms made her chest tighten. Loud laughter reminded her of nights she preferred to forget. But something inside her had said to go, to show up, to stand where she had earned the right to stand. Naomi looked at the billionaire's daughter with calm eyes. In those eyes lived storms that had already passed, losses that had already been buried. This moment, sharp as it felt, was not the worst she had survived. She lowered her gaze, not in shame, but in control. People mistook that silence for weakness. They always did. Naomi had learned early in life that dignity did not need permission. She had grown up in a small apartment that smelled of clean soap and old books. Raised by a mother who worked double shifts and still found time to teach her how to stand tall without raising her voice. Her mother had said that the loudest strength was the kind that did not need to announce itself. Years later, Naomi carried that lesson into the military. She joined young, driven by a need to serve something bigger than herself, and a quiet hope that discipline might tame the ache she carried from childhood. Boot camp stripped her down to bone and rebuilt her with grit. The air there always smelled like metal and sweat. Mornings came with cold ground under her palms and commands that cracked like thunder. She learned how to move with purpose, how to hold still under pressure, how to listen even when fear shouted louder. She served as a medic. Her hands learned the language of blood and breath. She learned how to tell when a body was giving up and when it still wanted to fight. She learned the weight of another life resting in her palms. Nights were the hardest. The smell of smoke clung to her clothes. The cries of wounded soldiers followed her into sleep. She lost friends. She closed eyes that would never open again. She whispered comfort to people who did not make it home. When she returned, she came back quieter, not broken. Just deeper. The world did not offer parades for medics who carried invisible scars. It offered bills. It offered paperwork. It offered long waits and polite smiles that never quite reached the eyes. Naomi adapted. She saved every dollar. She invested carefully. She bought her first small building with money earned through discipline and patience. Then another. Then another. She never raised rents without reason. She fixed broken heaters herself when workers did not show. She learned her tenants' names. She listened, over time. Her quiet choices built something solid. By the time the gala invitation arrived, Naomi owned more property than most people in that room realized, including the land beneath the hotel where they now stood. Laughing and judging under chandeliers, she had approved for installation. Back in the ballroom, the billionaire's daughter waited for a reaction. She expected anger, tears, apology. Naomi gave her none. The young woman pressed on, her voice sweet and sharp at once, suggesting that security might have made a mistake, that some people tried to blend into places not meant for them. A few people laughed softly, unsure whether they were supposed to. Others looked away, staring into their drinks as if answers might be floating there. Naomi felt the familiar heat rise in her chest. Not rage, memory. She remembered a battlefield at dawn, the air thick with dust, a young soldier bleeding out while she worked to keep him breathing. She remembered holding his hand and telling him he was not alone. She remembered the moment she realized strength did not always look like shouting. She lifted her head. Her silence stretched long enough to become uncomfortable. VA. Man near the stage shifted his weight. A woman clutched her purse tighter. The room felt smaller, like it was holding its breath. The billionaire's daughter mistook the silence for surrender. She stepped closer. That was when a server approached Naomi, eyes wide with recognition. He leaned in, whispering something into her ear. Naomi nodded once, her face unchanged. Across the room, a man in a dark suit checked his phone, then looked up sharply. He whispered to another man. Heads began to turn. The gala host, a polished figure with years of practiced charm, paused mid-sentence at the podium. His smile faltered. He glanced at Naomi, then at the billionaire's daughter, and back again. Something was shifting. The billionaire's daughter sensed it too, though she did not yet understand. Her smile tightened. Her confidence wavered just enough to be noticed. Naomi took one step forward. The floor beneath her heels was solid. She had paid for that floor to be reinforced last year, after an inspection revealed weakness. She remembered signing the papers, thinking about how unseen work kept people safe. She spoke then, her voice calm, clear, and low. She said that respect did not require permission. She said that dignity did not ask to be invited. She said that silence was not agreement. Every word landed like a weight. The room changed. The host cleared his throat, his voice suddenly careful. He addressed Naomi by name. He thanked her for attending. He acknowledged her contribution to the city, to housing. 2 community programs funded quietly, through trusts she never advertised. Faces drained of color, whispers rippled outward. The billionaire's daughter froze. Naomi continued, not louder, not sharper. She stated a simple truth, that she owned the land, that she believed in accountability, that she believed spaces revealed people. A line settled into the room, one that would be repeated long after the night ended. Real power does not shout. It stands and waits. The billionaire's daughter tried to speak. Words tangled. Her authority slipped through her fingers like sand. People who had laughed earlier now stood straighter. Some looked ashamed. Others looked relieved, as if justice had arrived so they did not have to carry the burden of speaking first. The host apologized publicly, his voice steady but humbled. He acknowledged the harm done. He invited Naomi to the stage, not as a spectacle, but as recognition long overdue. Naomi did not rush. She walked slowly, every step deliberate. She felt the weight of eyes, but also something else. Respect. Real, earned respect. On the stage, the lights were warm. She thought of hospital rooms lit too bright, of tents under foreign skies, of apartments where children slept safely because she had fixed a lock. She spoke again, not to punish, but to teach. She said that buildings were made of more than steel. They were made of people. That leadership without empathy was hollow. That the measure of a person was not their name, but how they treated someone who could offer them nothing. Another line settled into memory. Silence is not weakness when it is chosen. The billionaire's daughter stepped back, her face flushed, eyes downcast. She apologized, quietly, sincerely this time. It was not dramatic. It was human. Naomi accepted it with a nod. The crowd rose, not in wild applause, but in something deeper. A shared understanding. A moment of collective correction. Later, as the night wound down, people approached Naomi one by one. Some thanked her. Some shared their own stories of being overlooked. She listened, as she always had. When she finally left the gala, the air outside was cool and clean. The city lights reflected off the pavement she had walked 1,000 times before. She breathed deeply. She did not feel victorious. She felt complete. Stories like Naomi's are not about revenge. They are about presence. About the quiet power of standing still when the world expects you to shrink. About remembering that strength does not always announce itself, but it always shows up. If this story moved you, take a moment to reflect on how you treat the quiet people in your life. Share where you're watching from. Leave your thoughts below. And subscribe for more stories that honor silent strength and unseen heroes who shape the world without asking for applause.